Los Angeles, a nightclub somewhere on the Sunset Strip. It's past midnight, and in the VIP section, a kid who looks barely old enough to be inside is handing the waitress a black card and telling her to bring out whatever she wants. The tab that night, $400,000. He does this 3 nights a week. He rents out entire nightclub floors. He flies his friends on private jets to Vegas for breakfast. He buys Lamborghinis the way most people buy trainers, on a whim, in multiples. One night he gifted a woman he'd just met a Hermes bag worth more than most people's annual salary. He is 20 years old. His name is Malone Lam, and the money he's spending, every single dollar of it, belongs to someone else. This is a story of how one kid from Singapore pulled off one of the largest cryptocurrency thefts from a private individual in the history of the United States. $230 million. Gone in a single afternoon. But before we continue, make sure to hit the subscribe button and give it a like. To understand Malone Lam, you need to understand where he came from. He was born in Singapore, one of the most disciplined, structured societies on the planet. A city-state where rules matter, where ambition is expected, but within boundaries. Malone didn't care much for boundaries. At some point, it's not entirely clear when, he ended up in the United States. Miami specifically, a city built for people who want to be seen. And Malone wanted to be seen. Online, he went by 2 names, Anne Hathaway and $. $3. No subtlety. He wasn't a hacker in the traditional sense. He wasn't sitting in a dark room writing code. He was a social engineer, someone who understood that the weakest point in any security system isn't the technology. It's the human being on the other end of the phone. And he was very, very good at finding those human beings. Malone didn't work alone. His crew came together the way a lot of modern criminal enterprises do, not in back alleys or parking garages, but in online gaming platforms, chat rooms, Discord servers, late-night lobbies where teenagers from different countries talk trash and trade ideas. What started as casual conversation between gamers slowly became something else entirely. These weren't kids planning to rob a bank. They were kids who understood something most people their age didn't, that in the world of cryptocurrency, billions of dollars sat in digital wallets, protected by nothing more than passwords and phone numbers. And phone numbers could be taken. His most significant partner was Gene Deal Serrano, a 21-year-old from Los Angeles who went by Versace Gordon at Skidstar Online, where Malone was a face, the one who charmed, who performed, who moved the money. Serrano was the operator, the one who handled the technical execution. Together, they built something prosecutors would later call a sophisticated criminal enterprise. 13 members in total, spread across the United States. All of them young, all of them hungry, and all of them looking for the right target. Here's what most people don't understand about how Malone Lam stole $230 million. He didn't hack anything. He called someone up, and he lied to them. The technique is called social engineering, and it is devastatingly effective. The crew would identify wealthy crypto holders, people sitting on massive wallets, real money, life-changing money. Then they'd do their research. They'd find phone numbers, account details, enough personal information to sound legitimate. Then someone on the crew, often posing as a Google support agent or a security specialist, would call the target. "We've detected suspicious activity on your account. We need to verify your credentials. We're going to walk you through securing your wallet right now." Patient, professional, convincing. The victim, believing they were protecting their money, would hand over exactly the information needed to steal it. In some cases, the crew used a technique called a SIM swap, convincing a phone carrier to transfer a victim's phone number to a device the crew controlled. Once they had the phone number, they had access to 2-factor authentication codes. Once they had those codes, they had everything. It happened fast. By the time the victim realized what was happening, the money was already moving. Through mixers, through peel chains, through a web of pass-through wallets designed to make the funds untraceable. Also, they thought, August 2024, Washington, D.C. The target, a crypto investor sitting on over 4,100 Bitcoin. At the time, that was worth $230 million. The crew made contact. The script was flawless. The victim, believing they were dealing with a legitimate security team, was walked through a process that ended with Malone Lam and his associates controlling the entire wallet for 1,100 Bitcoin, $230 million. Transferred in a single afternoon, it was, prosecutors would later state, one of the largest cryptocurrency thefts from a private individual in the history of the United States. The money began moving immediately, laundered through multiple exchanges, broken into smaller amounts, rerouted through mixing services designed to obscure the origin of funds. Serrano alone deposited approximately $29 million into a single exchange account. He didn't use a VPN when he created it. The IP address was traced directly back to his home in Encino, California, a home he was renting for $47,500 a month. But that mistake was still weeks away from being discovered. In the meantime, Malone Lam had $230 million, and he intended to spend every cent of it. What do you do when you steal $230 million and you're 20 years old? Apparently, you party. Malone went on one of the most spectacular spending sprees in recent criminal history. Nightclubs, every night, tabs running from $100,000 to $500,000 per evening. Government surveillance later captured him at multiple Los Angeles clubs, spending hundreds of thousands of dollars in a single night. Cars, not one, not five, at least 28 exotic vehicles, including a Pagani Huayra worth $3.8 million. Custom Lamborghinis, Ferraris, pulled out of dealerships like candy. Houses. He rented properties simultaneously in Miami, Los Angeles, and the Hamptons. One of his Miami spots, a waterfront home, became the FBI's eventual target. Hermes bags, watches, designer clothing, private jets. He flew friends to different cities for fun. He tipped nightclub staff thousands of dollars because he felt like it. He gave a woman he barely knew a pink Lamborghini. And through all of it, he kept posting, kept flaunting. The life was too good not to show off. That decision, the showing off, would be his undoing. Somewhere on the internet, someone was watching. He goes by ZachXBT. Nobody knows his real name. Nobody knows his face. He operates entirely anonymously, a blockchain investigator who has made it his mission to track down crypto criminals and expose them publicly. The community calls him Crypto Batman. ZachXBT noticed a massive, unusual movement of funds on the blockchain. Hundreds of millions of dollars shifting rapidly through wallets, broken up, rerouted, shuffled. He started digging. He followed the money, transaction by transaction, wallet by wallet, and then he found Malone's social media, a 20-year-old, online aliases and all, showing the world exactly how he was living. The cars, the clubs, the lifestyle that made no sense for someone with no obvious income. ZachXBT pieced it together, connected the blockchain transactions to the spending, built a case that he then handed, evidence, videos, everything, directly to the FBI. The clock was now ticking on Malone Lam. September 2024. The FBI moved simultaneously on multiple targets. Gene Deal Serrano was arrested in Los Angeles. Malone Lam was arrested in Miami at one of his waterfront rental homes. When agents searched his properties, they seized 9 cars and a collection of luxury watches, one of which cost more than most people own in a decade. Lam appeared in court in a green prison jumpsuit. The same kid who'd been handing out homies bags at clubs weeks earlier was now being processed by federal agents. He was charged with conspiracy to steal and launder over $230 million in cryptocurrency. But the story didn't end there. Here's where it gets almost unbelievable. After his arrest, after he was sitting in a federal detention facility in Virginia, Malone Lam allegedly kept running the operation. From prison, according to prosecutors, he continued directing members of the crew from behind bars, passing instructions, coordinating the movement of stolen funds, and even arranging for crew members to purchase luxury goods and hand-deliver them to his girlfriend in Miami. The man was in prison and still sending homies bags to his girlfriend. It got worse. A new indictment expanded the charges significantly. Prosecutors alleged that Lam was the organizer of a 13-member criminal ring that had stolen a total of $263 million across multiple victims. They charged him under the RICO Act, the same legislation historically used against organized crime families. One of his co-defendants, Virche Tao, a 19-year-old Rutgers University student, pleaded guilty and agreed to testify against Lam. Chaitau faces up to 24 years in prison. His trial date was set for October 2025. Malone Lam, still only 20 years old, is looking at the kind of sentence that could swallow the rest of his youth entirely. Let's zoom out for a second. A kid from Singapore ends up in Miami, falls in with a crew of young, tech-savvy criminals he met playing video games online. Together, they build one of the most effective social engineering operations the crypto world has ever seen. They steal $230 million in a single afternoon, and then, instead of disappearing quietly, instead of living off the money somewhere no one would find them, they go to the clubs. They buy the Lamborghinis. They post it online. The money was never really the point. The lifestyle was the point. The recognition was the point. And in the end, that need to be seen, that need to show the world what he'd done, is exactly what handed the FBI everything they needed. ZachXBT found him because he wanted to be found. The $230 million is largely gone. The cars seized, the houses emptied, and Malone Lam, the 20-year-old who once spent $500,000 in a single night, is sitting in a federal detention facility, waiting to find out how many decades of his life he's going to lose.